Hi everyone, my name is Ed Gansel. I'm the lead singer and one of the guitarists for the band Skinny Rinkus.
And I'm Chris Silvagni, lead guitar player for Harpo and the band Sucker Punch.
We're definitely brothers for life, so we decided to get together and interview local musicians to find out what's going on in their world. Together, we are a Bond-Unbroken. So welcome to SikStrings and LoudPipes. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Alright, you ready to do this?
Yes, I am. Let's get this going. Now!
Okay, we're live.
We're live.
We are. So how was your day?
Good. How was your day?
It was pretty good. Long and boring.
Long and boring,
But
yes.
it was good.
I'm bored lately.
Are you?
I'm bored out of my mind.
What do you do with yourself all day?
I've been watching TV of all things, which I normally don't do.
So I could do that every day.
TV all day long.
So let's talk about this podcast.
Yes.
I think it was a neat idea.
I think it's an awesome idea.
I'm actually
You
looking
did.
forward to a lot of talking to old friends and
Yep. I agree. Definitely hear what's going on in the world of the local musicians, more so than the big boys out there.
yeah,
We hear enough about them.
yeah,
It's time to hear about the local.
right. That's what I say because there's no one around here doing that.
Right. Totally agree.
Yeah. So what do you think about being the first interview?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, listen. I want to ask you a question. You remember when we met? You remember what grade it was?
No.
You don't.
No.
I had to do some searching and thinking and figuring out. I figured out it was third grade, which would have
Third
made
grade.
me 9.
No.
Yeah. So I always thought I started playing banjo when I was 8. But when I met you, I played guitar. So that means I was 7 or 6 when I started playing banjo.
Wow.
How old were you when you started playing? You had to be close to 9.
I was trying to figure that out myself too, and I could never pinpoint exactly when I got started. I thought I was tinkering with it early on, but I think you're about right, about 8 or 9. I think it was in there.
Yeah. I don't know how you knew I played. I have no idea how you knew.
I don't know either.
But what I remember, this is how I remember it, you sent me a note that said, I can play Parasite. And I remember reading it going, oh, that's cool. I might have wrote that back, I don't remember. But the whole time I'm thinking, I never fucking heard of that song. So as soon as I got home, I asked my brother, Dope, did you ever hear of a song called Parasite? Oh yeah, it's on a Kiss album. I'm like, I want to hear it. So as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh wow.
But when did it come into the? When did you flip the guitar on me?
That would have been in that first year, because you played backwards and upside down.
Backwards and upside down.
If I remember right, you played lefty. You could play right, but you preferred to play left, but you didn't restring.
Because I thought you got me started on the. I thought you got me started on right-handed playing.
In your basement, you're trying to show me how to play something, and it's like, I'm looking at this whole thing upside down and backwards, just trying to figure it out. And that's why I suggested, why don't you play with your other hand? You go, because I'm left-handed. And I'm like, yeah, but that's where all your coordination is.
Yeah. Yep. Ended up being a good thing.
Yeah, well, when you did, you took off without me, so.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I was your biggest fan. Do you remember what your first guitar was?
My first guitar was that rinky-dink acoustic I had, a Honda.
Okay.
I think that was it. That was the very first guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember your first guitar?
I do.
What was it?
I do. So I bought, when I was taking banjo lessons, I took it for about a year. And he taught me what he knew. But he told me that I needed to switch to guitar. So I found a kid in school. He had an old acoustic. I bought it for like $10. And like within a week, I got home from school and there's a brand new Hyatt electric guitar with an amp sitting on the couch. My grandfather went and bought it for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you remember what guitar you had, when you and I played in the basement. If I remember right, it was black, and I think it was a Hondo 2.
Hondo 2. It was a Les Paul.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Les Paul style.
Yep.
Yep, I remember that.
Yep. And I remember when you got your first Gibson Les Paul Custom. It was like you got the Holy Grail.
Yep.
And it was
That
freaking
red wine one.
Yeah, red wine. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
You missed it?
Yeah, I lost that too. I traded it for a cabinet of all stupid ass
Oh,
things.
for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having that today?
I know about it. It was a second.
I know it was, but you couldn't see it. Yeah.
I remember that. You could not see it at all.
Was there ever an instrument you picked up and tried to play that you should never touch again?
I tried to pick up the violin and mess with it. I couldn't get going with that.
I remember you tinkering with it.
Yeah.
Then I remember using the bow on your guitar.
Yeah, using the bow on my guitar.
Yeah.
What about you?
I played saxophone a little bit, banjo. I've messed with keyboards, messed with drums.
I've messed with keyboards.
I've messed with a lot of little. To me, you can make music out of anything.
Yeah.
So it's just really a matter of how much time you want to spend.
I can keep a beat on a drum kit.
Can you? That's
Yeah.
about where I'm at.
Yeah.
I can keep a beat.
Yeah.
It's something I'd love to learn, but I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I'm digging into something now at this point.
Do you remember, what was your first band's name?
Oh my God.
You think you know?
I don't remember.
Okay, I think it was Shot Glass.
Shot glass.
Does that sound familiar?
Stupid phone. No. Shot glass, no.
Yep. Do you remember the kid that lived across the street from you? Fred? Was it Fred?
Jim Long.
Jim Long. He had a brother, Fred.
Yes.
Weren't you in a band with him early when we were kids?
We were goofing around down in the basement, yeah.
I think it was called Shot Glass, but I can't remember for positive. Oh, that just reminded me. Do you remember when we were kids, we played at Jeff Weaver's?
Yep.
Yeah, and we didn't have a bass, and that was my job. So somebody found me a Fender Jag, and I just played bass on a Fender Jag.
That's funny.
And I remember we were learning Aerosmith. It was Dream On. And I can remember every time we get to that point of that first run, you would get so excited that you got it, you'd just stop playing. You would just, boom. Oh, I got it, and roll like, dude, just keep going. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. I remember, Weavers, and I also remember Stones. Did you go over to Stones?
Yes. Mark. Was it Mark?
Chris.
It was Chris Stone?
Chris was the one playing.
Okay, yes, Chris. So there was Chris, Greg, and Mark.
Right.
Greg was in our grade. Mark
Yeah.
would have been the younger one.
Right.
Yeah, I do remember.
And Chris played, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I remember that's where I first heard Van Halen. Was through those guys.
That's awesome.
I remember that.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So who was your inspirations growing up?
For sure, it was when in the younger days. It was. I of course loved Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I had them plastered all over my walls.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Perry.
Joe Perry? The Joe Perry Project?
I was into that, into them big time. And then when Van Halen came out, that was it.
Who'd you skip? Was one of your favorite bands ever?
Oh, Frank Marino.
Frank Marino.
Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. That's funny. Yep, that's right.
Those were cool days.
Big time into him.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Was about the same. I mean, honestly, you influenced me. I was more or less learning country from the guy I was learning from. And when you said you played Parasite and I heard it, I was like, oh, wow, I need to figure out how to do that. Of course, I never really did master it, but it really turned me on to Kiss, which my brother was already very heavy into, and by that time I started playing with you in your basement, and Frank Marino. I think, if I remember right, it was where I first heard Rush. You had Rush, didn't you?
Yeah, but I wasn't big into Rush at that
Yeah,
time.
I don't remember that you were big, but I did. But that's how I found who they were. I would have never, I would have not known. It would have been later in life when I'd learned of them, but because they were truly a progressive rock band, and there wasn't a lot like that other than Triumph. Triumph was like that.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Remember, it was Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was Kiss, and I remember being big time into Aerosmith.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
And the Joe Perry Project, his solo album.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yep. Van Halen, though, that was it. That
Yeah.
was it for me.
And then along came Randy Rhoads.
And then along came Randy Rhoads.
Oof.
Yeah.
That was some magic times, wasn't it?
Oh my God, amazing times.
They both set the precedent.
Yep.
It just changed everything.
Yep. Totally. I'll never forget when he passed away. And I had it in my mind, maybe I can try out for him.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen.
So do you remember your early days with bands?
Yeah, I remember.
How
the
far
early
back
days.
you go? How far back?
Well, like that Jim Long thing we were playing in his basement. That was basically like one of the first things I did. And then the first serious band that I can remember, very first serious band was Borderline.
Borderline.
That I can remember was
With
Sue
Sue
Bloom.
Bloom. Yep.
Yep. That's the very first serious thing I remember. And then there was, what the hell else came out? There was
Red Baron.
Vital Signs.
Vital Signs. I forgot about that.
What the heck else was there? Was one with that whole Vital Signs thing. There was something else. And then the Red Baron days.
Then the Red Baron.
That's when things started to get serious.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. You guys were freaking awesome.
Yep, with Scott and
Yep.
Richard Smith on drums and Paul Wiedemeyer on bass. Yep.
Nice little shout out.
Yep.
That's a hell of a good lineup.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah. So who was your local inspirations?
Oh, it was you, Shane Kelly.
For me, same.
Of course. Shane was a big inspiration. Jeff Forsberg was,
Yep.
an inspiration. There was a couple other guys that were inspirations, but those were the main ones that, you know, you and Shane and Jeff Forsberg, you all taught me stuff that got me well on my way to playing.
Do you remember Mark Bastian?
Yep.
I learned a lot from him. In
Yeah.
syncopated beats and stuff. He was such a great drummer.
Yep.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing with him. Do you remember, you called me one time, hey, you want to go jam with some people? Yeah, sure. Well, problem is I don't have my guitar. It's up at the studio. Can you bring me one? Yeah. Who's going to be there? Mark Bastian, Shane Kelly. You went on. And I'm like, wait, I got stuck on Shane Kelly. And I'm like, wait, did you say Shane? And you go, yeah. And I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'll go. Because at that time, you had managed to get involved with them. But those were part of our idols growing up.
Correct.
Shane Kelly, Jeff Forsberg, on down the line. And it was like, hell, if I just get to watch, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But we went and we jammed, and I learned a lot from Shane. And I had no desire to be a solo guitarist. I'm not made for that. And he would show me riffs, and we would play these same riffs for half hour, 45 minutes. Sometimes we'd swap off instruments. And that we did, I don't know if you remember, but that went so well. We did it, I think, 2 more times after that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We basically had a party around it.
Up in his apartment.
Yeah, and that's how I got to know Mark so well, because Mark was there.
Whose apartment?
Up in Shane Kelly's apartment.
Shane Kelly's apartment. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Right on the corner of High.
We did it over at Denise's. Do you remember?
Yep, Denise Walls.
Denise Walls. Yeah.
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
Those are good times, though, man.
Oh my God, yeah.
I learned a lot. And then, like, all these years go by, and I was looking into doing the F-Book project, which is, I do a backing track, send it out to everybody, they do a video, send it to me, I'll put it in the song. Well, the only thing I could come up with was blues would be the most neutral thing for all of us. So I had to really go back and do some searching in my brain of the stuff that Shane showed me how to play to be able to do that. And we ended up doing 4 of them. You were on, I think, 3 of them.
Oh. Okay.
I remember I loved Red Baron so much. I had a car, Red Baron. Do you remember that?
Yeah, do you remember
Oh,
her
yeah.
car?
You got me the sticker,
Yep. Yep.
and I had
that's
the
right.
Red Baron sticker
Yeah.
all over. I drove that car proud.
That's funny. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yep, little red K car.
Yep. Little red K car.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Coming up next time, we'll be discussing Sue Bloom, Harpo, my band Skinny Rinkus, and much, much more. Stay tuned for more of our conversation coming soon.